So I'm going to go ahead and open up my index.ts. This is basically the main file, and I'm going to go ahead and run it. So how we run it here is we just follow this instruction. To get started, run bun run index.ts, and this will depend on the programming language that you're choosing to use. But we can see here that we are running this file. So over here, you can see the chat feature. If you don't have it open, you might have to toggle the AI pane, and here's chat. So here I can choose the model that we're going to be using. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of ask it like, write code to read the reviews first 5 censor.csv file. I'm going to press enter. And so this chat pane is, if you've used ChatGPT, it's something very similar, where you have different steps in a conversation. And I'll kind of show you more advanced usage in a minute, but let's first see what this says. So due to this saying hello via bun, this inferred that we were using bun. And that's because if you look over here at index.ts, with the chat feature and cursor, you can attach different files. So by default, it attaches the files that we have open, which was index.ts. And so here it added some code. So it looks like we're going to be importing something to read files, and it's saying read the CSV file and the file content, and it logs it, and it does some error handling. That looks fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. I can either just select like normal, or I can just click copy. Now, Cursor also does have an apply feature. The apply feature with chat is not that great. It's actually kind of hard for AI models to insert code. Now, when I have a simple file like this, it shouldn't mess up. So let's give it a try. Perfect. And I just click accept. Okay. Now let's see. So we have a TypeScript error here. No worries. Error is of type unknown because it's assuming that message is there. I think I can just add this, but then message is not existent type object. Okay, sure. So what I'm going to do is just do error. Could be anything. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and run our file and look at this. File content. Yep. Okay, that's exactly what we thought. All right. So this is good. If you're writing AI generated code, or if you're working with AI generated code, sometimes it'll mess up the indenting. So I recommend setting up some type of linting feature, or something to actually make those changes. What I mean by this is, let's say that I copy this code and I didn't do any indenting, right? It's very ugly. Or let's say let's say I have like this curly brace on another line or something, right? Then it's not very legible, and it really is a pain to try to manually indent things. So what we can do is I can go ahead and use a plugin called Prettier. So I'm just going to ask the chat, how can I set up Prettier in my package or in my code base? And it's going to generate some instructions. So these are fairly good instructions. And, once again, I wouldn't just click apply. You never really know where it's going to go, because it's going to try to apply this to the TypeScript file. And by the way, TypeScript, I didn't explain that earlier. It's kind of like JavaScript, but with types. That's the most basic definition, and I'll stick to that. So there's a lot of stuff here. So let's go ahead and see. So for the first step, I'll just copy this, bun add Prettier. That seems reasonable. And I'll run it, and it got installed. Now it tells me to create a file. Okay. So sure, I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do .prettier rc, paste everything here. And now, let me fix the indenting. Let's see, and I can do like a .prettier ignore. Now, to be honest, these instructions are kind of too much. Just telling you, I know how to use Prettier, and while this will work, it's a bit too many files to set up. I love how it included setting up a pre-commit hook. I'm just going to tell it, this seems like a lot of work. Sorry. This seems like a lot of work. What's a easy way to add Prettier without making so many files? I just want to pretty up my JSON and TS files. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete Prettier RC. There we go. So this is nice. So now we go to our package.json, and you can just click it and open it. Now I'm going to need a script section. So I'm going to ask it to apply, and you'll see that it added a comma. If you have very easy code changes, the apply tool works very well. if you have complicated changes, I would not rely on the apply tool. I'll go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to go open the index file, and I'm going to run format, and it's going to run Prettier, and as you can see, it auto-indented stuff, so that's great. And apparently we can add Prettier settings directly through package.json. I actually did not know that. That's pretty cool. Let's try applying it and see what happens. Okay, it didn't mess up there. I want to change the tab width to 4, the print width to 120, and single quote, sure. I don't, that's not too much semi, no. Sure, I'll keep it. Okay. And now let's run it again. So as you can see, it also modified our package.json, just because this command is basically telling it to apply it everywhere. And let's say you don't know that. Let's just we can kind of ask, you can kind of ask it, what does all the asterisks mean? So if you're a beginner and you don't know something, you can just ask and you can get a pretty decent explanation. There might be a small part that's wrong or isn't the best explanation, but it is leaps better than how people kind of learned 10 years ago when you were trying to follow a YouTube tutorial step by step. So as you can see, this is like a glob start pattern. It will search basically a bunch of nested directories, and then it tells you for the file name. It does a really good job of just explaining everything, so that's great. Now, I want to make sure it doesn't modify the node modules. So I'm going to ask, will it modify my node modules folder? I'm worried it might. Oh, okay. By default, Prettier ignores the node modules folder. Awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna believe it, it's not too important, so I'm just gonna believe it. All right, back to our index.ts. So as you can see, I can go ahead and run it. And we basically have, we have a CSV file, so we should probably use a library or something that makes it easier to get data from our CSV. Alternatively, we could go ahead and convert every row here into some type of object. So let's go ahead and just ask it to do that. So I'm going to go over to, let's see, so we have the console.log, and occasionally what you should do is just start a new chat. You're not going to have the previous history, and that can be a good thing, because if a model has too much context, it can kind of derail the conversation. So every time you start something new, a new task or something, start a new chat. So let's go ahead and see, what do I really want? Extract the header information and print it out from the CSV printf. Okay, this seems reasonable. So I'm just gonna apply it, and hopefully it does a good job. No red squiggly lines, so I think it's okay. I will go ahead and run it. And now we have our course header information. So course name, student name, timestamp, rating, and comment. Ah, look at this. So I think this is a quirk relating to some new line systems in Windows. So how new lines are represented is \n on Unix systems. But on Windows, they use the Carriage return. And so it looks like this CSV file was made to be, I guess, compatible with those types of Windows systems, which is why we see that /r. But what we can do is just ask it. I can click on this terminal command. We ran this, right? And this is all the output. I can just click here and click add to chat. And I can just ask it, why is there \r in there? I didn't see it when opening the CSV file myself. So I recommend something this would work, but let's go ahead and kind of probe it, right? Sometimes the first solution that a language model provides it works, but it's a bit suboptimal. If we actually did do this suggestion, then we would be basically removing that \r from the column names, but that \r will still be there in all the other rows. So let's go ahead and ask it that. Okay. So it's splitting still by new line. This could work. But let me just ask it another thing. And so this solution would work, but if you're knowledgeable, then you can kind of steer it. I like to think of Cursor like an undergrad student, so you can kind of steer them. So it's like you can ask, why are we splitting by /n? Shouldn't we split by /r/n? Okay, that's nice. So they're keeping filter boolean to remove any empty lines that might result from the splitting process. Okay. Yeah, I see what it's doing. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to apply it and see how well it does at applying it. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and run. Well, first I'm just going to format it. Okay. Unchanged. That's fine. Did I save it? Oh no! Okay. What happened there was I didn't save my changes, and then I ran the formatting tool, which wrote to that file. So then when I ran the code, it was using the code that was output by the formatting tool, which was the code before I saved the file. So what I did was just overwrite, and we should be good now. So let's run it. And as you can see, the /r is missing now. So that's nice. And you can go ahead and kind of build on this. So I'm going to add this to chat, and I'm going to say, based on the column names, create a class, like object-oriented, to hold these fields. And then when we read each row, let's turn that row of text into an instance of that class. Okay. So let's just go ahead and run it and see how it works. I'm going to click apply, and I'll see how it does at applying. I think that was decent. And I'm just going to save and run it. Okay, so the first review is a course review. It looks like the formatting is a bit off, especially because the student name, I mean, that's definitely not, yeah, this is definitely not right. And if I open the file, first 5 censored, let's see. So yeah, that's definitely not right. And I can just tell it, this doesn't look right. Add to chat, this doesn't look right. Oh, okay. So it was splitting by commas. But the fun quirk about CSV or comma separated values is that when you have a comma inside your actual text, you can surround it by quotation marks to let the parser know that that comma is part of the text. And in this case, what this gave us was like a naive implementation where it was just splitting the line by commas, and that's why that happened. So now it's going to try to only split if it's not in between the quotation marks. And at this point, we might want to expand into some sort of like CSV parsing library. It's totally up to you, but we're going to stick with this for now. So go ahead and see. So they added a parse.csv line, and they used this parse.csv line when processing each row. Okay, let's apply and see what happens. Let's find out. I'm just going to remove this. Okay, course name and person 1, timestamp, rating, comment. Awesome. Number of reviews 5. Okay, this is perfect. The only thing is now I'm going to go ahead and kind of delete the student name. Or let's see. I'm going to set the student name equal to the line or the review that is in. So as you can see here, this is the first review. So the student name is person 1. So I'm going to actually do some coding here. And I'm going to finish this with the chat feature. And then we'll wrap up with the chat feature. So I'm going to go ahead and do const new student name equals person, and then review number. And I'm just going to say the review number is equal to 0 just as a placeholder. And instead of return new course review student name, I'm going to say new student name here. So what should happen, what's going on here? Oh, okay, this is not in a dictionary, this is just a function call. Okay. What should happen is, as you can see, we're not using student name anymore. And if I run this, it'll just say person 0. And I'm gonna change this to 1. And I'm actually gonna just print out all the reviews. Let's see how that goes. So this is what I was just running. And it essentially prints out these course review classes or objects, and here you can see student name, and it's person 1 for all of these because we're changing the name. And here we have new student name, here we have review number. This is a programming class. I'm just gonna go ahead and select this, and I mean really the 3 lines that are most relevant, and you can either just press edit or you can just press Command K. I'm gonna go ahead and say edit this so the review number is equal to the line number, and it's going to go ahead and give some relevant context to the model. And basically it changed the function that we're passing into the map function. That's okay, sure. Where instead of just getting the line, we're also getting the index, so that's going to be the index of the line that we're on. So then it's doing like index plus 1. So if we go ahead and run this, you can see this person 5, person 4, person 3, person 2, person 1. Perfect. So I'm really trying to avoid writing code myself in this course, just to kind of show you that you don't need to know the language that you're working in. You can explore different APIs that you haven't really dealt with before. Last week I was writing a lot of code that used the web audio APIs, and had to do this in video transcoding with a lot of FMmpeg stuff, and I didn't know any of that, and I didn't spend my time reading documentation. What I did was I just asked Cursor to implement what I had in my head, and it implemented it, and I ran it, and whenever there were errors, I would pass that on to the model, and I shipped that code. So Cursor's awesome, even for experienced developers. Now let's go ahead and see. It looks, this looks reasonable, so let's expand this. So instead of just reading the first 5 reviews uncensored, we're going to read all the reviews. So I'm just going to manually type this in, uncensored, and that's a typo. Alright, just giving a quick scan. I think this should be good. Let's go ahead and run it. Let's find out. Alright, 698 more items, and there's a lot of persons there. So this is awesome. Okay, so now what I'm going to tell Cursor is, all I really care about is the comments. So before we move on, I'm actually just gonna commit this so that I can keep track of all our changes. All right, and let's go ahead and see. Now, if you wanted to do this really optimized, you wouldn't create the object if the comment was empty, or you could filter this list afterwards. And my prediction is that it's going to filter the list rather than doing some optimized thing of just not creating the object. Although if it didn't create the object, it would still have to filter that out unless it stopped using map and used something else. Anyways, let's see how Cursor does it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and say if the comment field is empty, e.g. this, don't include it in the reviews array. Okay, wow, it's actually doing fairly optimal solution. I think that there's a more efficient solution, but this is pretty good. It's not bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it, and let's go ahead and see. It made it so comment is optional. Okay. Oh, actually no, I just read it, and this is it's not what I would have done, but that's okay. These models are not going to give you the most optimal code. They're going to give you the fastest code to get the job done. But not runtime fast, but it writes it fast. If we're really caring about performance, probably wouldn't be using TypeScript. So this is good enough. Okay. So now let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. Oh, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and run bun format so that it makes it pretty. Okay, that's why I set that up. Now I can do bun, is it index? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So comment, 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 comment. Okay, cool. All of these are comments, all right? So there's a rating and a comment and a timestamp. Okay. So let me think. Let's see. This is a lot of data that's redundant, right? We don't really need to print the course name or the student name or the timestamp. Maybe we want to keep the student name. But what I'm thinking is I want to pass this data over to a model so it can go ahead and summarize everything for me. Oh wow, there's 133 reviews? Yeah, okay. I definitely want to do that.